Good day. This is Global Watch on your digital First Pan-African News Network, TOS Television. I am Abigail Okwade. Hundreds of protesters detained for protesting last month's military takeover have been freed in Myanmar's junta on Wednesday in the commercial hub Yangon. There were 360 men and 268 women. Aung San Suu Kyi, the ousted prime minister, was due to have a court hearing on Wednesday in the city's capital on account of criminal charges which could end her political career, but her lawyer said the hearing has been adjourned to the 1st of April because of problems with video conferencing caused by a junta-imposed internet shutdown. Meanwhile, Myanmar security forces shot dead a 7-year-old girl in the city of Mandalay on Tuesday, the youngest victim yet in the military's bloody crackdown on civilian opposition to the February 1 coup. The young girl was killed in her home during a military raid, according to advocacy group Assistance Association for Political Prisoners. On Wednesday, protesters called for a silent strike, with businesses and shops set to close and people to stay in their homes with the aim of shutting down entire towns and city. Finance Minister and the Deputy Ruler of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum, has died. He has been sick for some months and had surgery abroad in October. Sheikh Hamdan, aged 75, was the brother of the current ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. He served as the deputy leader of Dubai under his brother, the hereditary ruler of the city-state, which also serves as the prime minister and vice president of the United Arab Emirates. Emirates officials announced his death on Twitter on Wednesday without specifying the cause. They also announced that funeral prayers will be restricted to family members due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Dubai announced 10 days of mourning with flags to be flown at half-mast as of Wednesday and the closure of government institutions in the Emirates for 3 days as of Thursday. Now to Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, could struggle to secure enough seats to stay in power, according to incomplete results from Tuesday's election show. With nearly 90% of votes counted, his right-wing bloc is 8 seats short of the threshold to form a government. A rival right-wing party would so far add another 7 seats if it throws its weight behind Netanyahu. Uncertainty hovers over the outcome of Israel's parliamentary election, with both the prime minister Benjamin Netanyahu and political rivals apparently lacking a clear path to a governing coalition. Initial projections by Israel's 3 main TV channels after Tuesday's vote gave Netanyahu an edge based on the potential support of an ultra-nationalistic rival. Naftali Bennett wants his defense minister, but amended forecasts indicated deadlock with Bennett's prospective backing, with the 120 seats in the parliament divided equally between Netanyahu's likely opponents and supporters. The final tally of the votes cast at regular polling stations is expected to be announced later on Wednesday. The final results will, among other things, determine the course of Israel's relations with the Palestinians. To COVID-19 developments, the Ministry of Health in India announced on Wednesday that a new variant of the coronavirus had been detected in the country. In a statement, the ministry said although VOCs and a new variant had been detected in the country, they have not been detected in numbers sufficient to either establish a direct relationship or explain the rapid increase in cases in some states. According to the Union Health Ministry, the country records 47,262 corona cases per day, which is the highest single-day rise so far this year, taking the nationwide COVID-19 cases to 11,734,058 cases. The daily rise in infections was the highest recorded in 132 days, while the country's COVID-19 death toll increased to 160,441 with 275 new fatalities, the highest in around 83 days. The health ministry stressed that more than 70% of the deaths occurred due to the comorbidities. In a turnabout move, German Chancellor Angela Merkel told state premiers in a video call that there would not be a strict lockdown over Easter after all. This follows a day of criticism and confusion in Germany. Merkel announced the changes after an impromptu video conference with the 16 regional leaders in which she explained the overturn and said the mistake was ultimately hers to answer for. During a press conference, Merkel said the Easter lockdown was formed with the best of intention, We must try to slow down the third wave of the pandemic. Nevertheless, it was a mistake, Merkel said, adding that because at the end of the day, I carry the last responsibility in asking citizens for forgiveness. Merkel said that on closer analysis, the planned shutdown risks doing more harm than good. She also said there was not enough time to adequately offset some of the problems that would come with it, such as lost earnings and working hours. It is well reasoned, but was not reasonable. What was not really doable in such a short time, Merkel said, of the Easter measures. Too many questions from missing wages through to the loss of time in factories and facilities could not be adequately answered in time, the Chancellor appealed for understanding. You are watching Global Watch. Coming up next is stories from the United Kingdom. After the break, do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Global Watch. Boris Johnson told a private meeting of Tory members of Parliament and his governing Conservative Party that the success of the United Kingdom's COVID vaccine program was because of capitalism and greed. But sources said the Prime Minister had very insistently withdrawn his comments straight after making them during a Zoom call with backbenchers. Wales Office Minister David T.C. Davies, who attended the meeting, said Johnson made it absolutely clear it was a joke, a reference to the film Wall Street. The remarks were not connected to the European Union role over vaccine supply. The Prime Minister was referring to the profit motive driving companies to develop new products, according to the sources. The Prime Minister also reportedly praised work by large drug companies during the pandemic. The remarks come as some 28.3 million people in the United Kingdom, more than half the adult population, have had at least a first dose of either the Oxford AstraZeneca or Pfizer vaccines. But the latest figure shows jabs being administered across the European Union at less than a third of the rate achieved so far in the United Kingdom. Now on Europe's migration crisis, 6 boats with 183 migrants on board reached the United Kingdom after crossing the English Channel on Tuesday. The figure is the highest daily number so far this year and is just under the total in the whole of March of 2020, when 187 people made the crossing. At about 850 people have made the crossing so far this year, compared to 338 in the same period of 2020. More than 8,438 people crossed the English Channel in about 635 boats in 2020. The government is planning to make it more difficult for asylum seekers to stay in the United Kingdom if they come illegally. Under new plans being set out by the government, people seeking protections as refugees will have their claim assessed based on how they arrive in the UK. Also, people who enter the United Kingdom illegally to claim asylum will no longer have the same entitlements as those who arrive legally. Home Secretary Priti Patel says the new system will be fairer and will crack down on criminal gangs. Also, the new plan for immigration will create a fairer system to support the world's most vulnerable, continuing to resettle those in need of protection, granting resettled refugees indefinite leave to remain, increasing integration through job support. Patel added that the new plan for immigration is based on 3 key areas, which aim to support those in genuine need via safe and legal routes, breaking the life-threatening businesses of criminal people smugglers, and to make it easier to remove illegal arrivals with no right to be in the country. Still in the UK, the world's largest painting titled The Journey of Humanity, created by British artist Sacha Jeffrey, has been sold for £45 million to raise funds for children's charities. The 44-year-old artist originally hoped to raise $30 million, which is the equivalent of £22 million. The artist spent 8 months painting the artwork in a deserted hotel ballroom in Dubai. The price makes it one of the most expensive paintings ever sold at an auction by a living artist. He planned to sell it in 70 parts, but French cryptocurrency businessman Andre Abdon has bought the whole work. Jeffrey said the money will be given to Dubai Cares, UNICEF, UNESCO, and the Global Gifts Foundation, which will help less privileged children in Brazil, India, Indonesia, and South Africa. Jeffrey added that the money will be spent on healthcare and sanitation for the poorest communities in the world and to connect them to internet so children can have access to educational platforms. The biggest divide at the moment is those those with the internet and those without, he said. Jaffrey started by putting out an appeal for children to send him their pictures, representing how they felt during the pandemic. He got responses from 140 countries, which he used for inspirations, he said. In September, Guinness World Record recognized it as the largest ever art canvas. And that is it on Global Watch for today. For more updates, do visit our website at www.costvnetwork.com to follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. I am Abigail Okwade. Remain safe.